Okay, Daf Lamed Dalet Amid Beis and Beitsa towards the bottom. Mar Zutra Breda Rav Nachman had tried to bring a proof from our Mishnah, the fact that you can stand up next to something that should be muksas, not a finished product, and declare that you want to use it on Shabbos, that the intention to use it on Shabbos will make it chayiv and meiser. Our Mishnah says in Shvis it's not, because there is no meiser in Shvis, but any other year it would have been chayiv and meiser. So Mar Zutra Breda Rav Nachman says that's a proof that Shabbos has the power to make something chayiv and meiser, even if it's not a finished product. Says the Gemora, which could be his own father, who didn't bring this Mishnah as a proof, that maybe our Mishnah is not a good proof, because maybe when he stands over this fruit, which is not quite finished, but it's not completely unfinished, it's somewhere in the middle, when he declares he wants to eat it, it's like declaring that he wants to use it as a finished product, that he looks at it as a finished product. So maybe it has nothing to do with Shabbos and the power of Shabbos to be kovea for meiser. Maybe rather it's just the fact that a human being is allowed to say that he looks at something as a finished product, and he has that power to influence the situation, to look at a product as a finished product, like we sometimes see in Tumas, in Hilchas Tuma, that you can take a piece of leather and say, I choose to use it as it is, and now it's makabel tuma because it's a finished product, just very based on the fact that you consider it a finished product. That's enough. The Gemora actually uses a phrase, it's yored latuma al yidei makshava. Even just a makshava can make it go down into the depths of tuma, meaning it can be makabel tuma just because of your makshava. So here he's actually making a statement. It's not just a makshava, but it's a kind of makshava, that he's voicing his desire to eat it the next day. So we're saying perhaps that could be looked at as koveya, not because of the fact that it's Shabbos or he intends to eat it on Shabbos, but the mere fact that he wants to eat it already makes it like a finished product. Once it's a finished product, then we say Shabbos is koveya, even though it's on the roof and it hasn't yet been brought into the house, it's chayiv and meiser. That we know Shabbos can do. Because that we had the Mishnah before with the Tinokos who thought to use it to eat Ta'anim on Shabbos, made it chayiv and meiser. So to take a finished product and say you want to eat it on Shabbos, even though it hasn't been brought into the house or the chutzner yet, everybody knows from the Mishnah in Meiser, which is actually the fourth parak of Meiser that the Gemora brought originally up top, the beginning of the Gemora, so that we know that makshava to eat it on Shabbos can make it chayiv and Meiser. But Rava's question had been, what can maybe the makshava to use it on Shabbos can do even more, can overcome even the fact that it's not a finished product, not just the fact that it hasn't gone to the chutzner, but the fact that it hasn't been finished. Maybe Shabbos can overcome both aspects and make it chayiv and meiser. So Rav Nachman happened to say, I know from a Kabbalah in my hands, I have a Kabbalah about this, that it is chayiv and meiser. That Shabbos is more powerful than even chutzner, and can even make chayiv and meiser even on unfinished product. But Mar Zutra, Breda Rav Nachman, who thought you could bring a proof from our Mishnah, the Gemora is saying that's not necessarily true. It's true the halacha, but not that we want to bring it from this Mishnah, since this Mishnah has other ways of interpreting it. Okay, so now the Gemora goes on. Who wants to think the Gemora? Perhaps tomorrow we'll try the Rashi's on this Gemora. So now we only have 10 minutes left. I think it's better if we try to go on.
Continue.
Where from? Ihachi. Third line.
Ihachi, if so, it's talking about
if really the only chiddush of our Mishnah is that he's saying that he looks at it as a finished product, and that works to make it chayiv and meiser.
My area is Shabbos. Why do you mention Shabbos?
Why did the Mishnah mention Shabbos to tell me that chiddush? That chiddush I could have learned of Filu.
Even on the weekday.
Nami. Even on the weekday I could have had the same chiddush be taught to me that he can walk up to something that's not finished and declare it to be a finished product, and it works to make a chayv and meiser. So why didn't they just teach me that halacha? Why teach me on Shabbos? Is like an extra thing which we already knew really. That Shabbos is kaveya for meiser if it's a finished product. So Gemora says no. There is an extra chiddush that we want to teach by teaching it on Shabbos. What was the extra chiddush?
Tevel mukhan.
Tevel can be considered mukhan, whatever that means. You can have a case of tevel, which means it's not yet meiser, and it's still mukhan. It's still not muksa. Right? Mukhan is the opposite of muksa. So I can take off the Isser Muksa, but it can still have the Isser Tevel. That's a Kiddush, right? We would have thought if it's still Tevel, it's still Muksa. You say no. He was able to take off the Isser Muksa by the statement that he made, the Hasmana, but it's still Tevel because there's Chayiv and Meiser, and you didn't Meiser it. So that's the Kiddush itself, that Tevel can be considered Mukhan. Etzel Shabbos, when it comes to Shabbos. Obviously, there's a huge Rashi on that one, which means there's a huge explanation of what that might mean, but whatever. We'll see if we have a moment, we'll look at the Rashi, but there's obviously we won't have time for the full Rashi, but let's just go on and touch on the Gemora.
Sorry,
where are you?
over there, right?
No, we're still at the bottom of Lamed Dal and Lamed Beis.
Im Avar v'Sakno v'Tukah.
Why would it be important to know that Tevel could be considered Mukhan, i.e. not Muksa? The answer is that it would be important to know that fact, She'im, because if Avar, if he what?
Lost.
What does that mean?
Over.
Meaning, you know the English word for that?
So you
know the English word for that? Transgress. If he transgressed, if he did an Aveira and transgressed the Isser of taking Meiser on Shabbos, not supposed to take Meiser on Shabbos, but if he forgot, let's say, or he ignored it for some reason, and he was over, he transgressed this prohibition, and instead he what? Tikno. Then it would be Metukan. Right, the Bidi Evid, somebody who went ahead and took Trumas Maestros on Shabbos, can you eat it?
Yes.
Or you say, no, it's Tevel. When Shabbos came in, it was Tevel. Right? Tevel is Usser, so it makes it muksa for the whole of Shabbos. We're saying no. If he came before and he took off the Isser of muksa, the only thing remaining was the Isser of Tevel. But if that got removed inadvertently or whatever, then it would turn out that you could.
Where?
But you could, if it says Tikno Metukan, that B'di'evid, if you did try to fix it, it worked. And now you can eat it, right? Obviously, we won't be happy with you, right? Someone might come and, I don't know, burn down your house because you did an Aveira, right? But at least you'll be able to eat your fruit, right? I'm not advising you burn down people's houses. So maybe you did the wrong thing, and maybe some people would chastise you, but in the end of the day, you're allowed to eat this for a Shabbos meal, you're allowed to serve this at your Shabbos meal? Yes. That would be the Kiddush. That would be the Kiddush.
Yeah. Isn't it Isser Hanav on this?
Excuse me?
I'm sure they're having Isser Hanav or something.
Where would there be an Isser Hanav? Because of which?
Meiser. Related to Meiser.
Something that's not Meiser is Asr B'Hanav?
Something that really Meiser on Shabbos.
Huh?
You're supposed to have Hanav from over there, right?
The truth of the matter is, the Rabbanan did make a kanas if a person did a malacha on Shabbos. If he cooked on Shabbos. Okay? There's a question if you're allowed to get pleasure from somebody who cooked on Shabbos. But even that is a machlokas, by the way. I think we mentioned here before, even the Mishnah Berurah brings Shitas Rabbi Meir, that if it was done b'shogeg, another person is allowed to eat it on Shabbos. Even though we don't pass on that way lechatchila, but the lashon is Kedai Rabbi Meir lismoch alav. Rabbi Meir was an important enough rabbi that you can rely on him. B'shas hadachak, in an emergency. So I brought a case that I heard once b'shem Rav Eliyashiv of someone in the army that was on a base where he knew the only food available to him was food that had been cooked on Shabbos. Is he allowed to eat it on Shabbos? And Rav Eliyashiv answered him, Kedai Rabbi Meir lismoch alav b'shas hadachak. You can rely on Rabbi Meir since it's an emergency. What's the emergency? There's no other food available. Therefore, you can rely on Rabbi Meir to do what? Even to eat food that was what?
Cooked on Shabbos.
Cooked on Shabbos, because it was cooked, dafka, b'shogeg. He considered the people on the army base who were cooking on Shabbos to be shogeg. That's a chiddush. You know, posek to say things like that. Some people could argue they know it's Shabbos. What do you mean? They don't know it's Shabbos. They don't know it's Asr to cook on Shabbos. But some people say all the chilinim today are what's called tinok shenishba. They don't really know Shabbos. They don't really learn the Shabbos. They're called shogeg. Anyhow, that's what he paskined. So even a malacha, which there are cases where malacha is asr, if someone does a malacha to prepare a food, then it would be asr on Shabbos. Some people say even motzi Shabbos, at least to the person who did it. Let's say the person who cooked it would be asr for sure on Shabbos, and maybe even motzi Shabbos, but other people might be able to eat it on Shabbos, or at least motzi Shabbos. But that's a malacha mamish, where cooking was done. Here there wasn't a malacha done, right? To take trumas on maestros is not a malacha. It's an issur d'rabbanan. That's what the Gemora is saying. It's not considered to have done a malacha, so therefore the rabbanan, but even then, it's not asur b'hana. We don't call it asur b'hana. Yeah. Okay, let's just see a touch of the Rashi there. And we'll just remember that we have a Rashi to do, but let's just see the beginning of the Rashi. Ha kamash malan de tevo muchanhu.
Did we do the Rashi before?
You see the Rashi's there? I just wanted to see the beginning of that one since you don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
Ha kamash malan de tevo muchanhu.
Achi nakat.
You see it, Shabbatai? The third wide line of Rashi, Lahachi Nakat. This is why, really wide line, not the medium line. Yeah. Lahachi Nakat Gabi Shabbos. This is why he mentioned this halacha concerning Shabbos. Lashmainan. Anyone else reading? Should I read it? To teach us Milsach Risi, another matter, Agav, right, as a side issue, by the way, so to speak. Right, an extra chiddush, like we call a revusa, Rashi called it a revusa before. An extra chiddush. What's the extra chiddush? To eat strich laflugi b'hachana. He wants to make a distinction in the mitzvah of hachana, the mitzvah of preparing something for Shabbos. So therefore, Tani Nami Ha Bahade. Therefore, he learned this together with it. The Bashar Shnei Shavua, that on the rest of the years of the 7-year cycle, not just the Shemitah, but in the other 7 years, 1 through 6, Eino Asur, it's not really going to be Asur, Mishe He's Mina, from the time that you did your Hazmana. And you stood up over it and said you want to eat it the next year. Ella, it's only going to be Asur in the rest of the years, Mishum Meiser, Bilvad. There's only an Isser of Meiser in the rest of the years, but not an Isser of Muksa. That's an important distinction. That in the 7th year there's no Isser. But in the other years there wouldn't be Muksa, but there would still be an Isser of Tevel, of Al-Hachana, Isa. But the preparation was a good preparation. Even in the other years where if you have to do Meiser, it's still called Tevel, but it's still, when you stood up over and made your statement, that took off the muksa aspect. She'im ba adam echad v'avar v'tikna mesuka. If a person came along and for some reason fixed up this food and took the meiser, it would be fixed up. Umutter la'achal, and even mutter to eat. V'lo amrina, we don't say lo mahanya le hazmana. We don't say that hazmana didn't help. Man Shalom Niskan, as long as it's still Tevel and it's not fixed up as far as Meiser is concerned. We don't say that. We don't say the fact that it's needed Meiser interfered with it becoming Muchan and interfered with it losing its Muksa status. Toha Muksa Machmas Isser Tevel who ask him Idaita. You could have thought to say that it would be Asr and the Muksa would be because of the Isser taking the Trumas of Meisers that he stopped thinking about using it. Right, that's Yisod of Muksa. Normally, why does something become Muksa? Because you stop to think about using it. You say, I'm not going to use this thing. That's what Rashi says in a number of places throughout the Masechta, that the Yisod of Muksa is, I didn't think to use this anymore because of the fact that it wasn't possible to use it. So I didn't think to use it. So there it makes it Muksa. So I would have thought here also, because of the fact that you have to take Trumas and Meisers, that makes it that you would stop thinking about it, and that itself would make it muksa. Kamash Mulan, that's why the Mishnah is coming to teach you. Kivan de be hakbas, truma, meiser, and derais. Okay, we'll get to this.